Thank you for clicking on the video. I'm Cal Cope. Won't you like and subscribe and enjoy the video? Well, welcome back to How Love Can Last Forever After All. I'm Cal Cope. So glad you could be with us. Hope you enjoyed the first episode of this second series, and I hope you're starting to see things a little different. It'll take some time, but the more you better understand what forever love looks like and the fact that it is formed, it's not a fantasy, and you realize that you have the ability, you have some control. Relationship, love isn't something that just happens to you. It really is something that you can participate in. Isn't that a novel thought? You're not waiting for your Prince Charming. You're not waiting for your Cinderella. You're not waiting for, but you have the ability to shape your world of love. There's a novel concept, huh? Well, listen, today we're going to talk about how to recognize emotional safety. Now that you've begun to see some of the patterns that you have experienced in life, let's begin to identify how you begin to recognize emotional safety. Now that you can see the patterns, the next question becomes, can you recognize what is actually safe? Because not everything that feels strong is stable. And not everything that feels calm is boring. Sometimes calm is what you've been missing. Emotional safety is not about perfection. It's about consistency. It's about knowing this person will show up. This person can handle discomfort. This person takes responsibility. This person repairs. Once again, it's not perfection. We're not talking about perfectly, but reliably. Right? Listen, my wife is the first person to tell you that I am far from perfect. But she's also the first person to tell you that I'll stay in the game. And I can say the same thing about her. Is we may have disagreements and we may know each other's shortcomings, but we keep showing up. Quite frankly, that's the biggest part of the fun of it, is the fact that over these 40 plus years, we continue to enhance an environment that feels safe so that we can continue to grow from our shortcomings. Once again, we've been talking about this frequency illusion, and here's what's going to happen now. Well, once you see it, you start to see it everywhere. You'll begin to notice who avoids accountability, who gets defensive, who creates clarity, who creates confusion. And now something shifts. You're no longer just feeling relationships. You begin to observe them. Before awareness, you were reacting. After awareness, you are discerning. You see, there have been relationships in my life that before I understood what healthy was, I was the kind of kid that was always asking questions. And I've got some close relationships, and I remember being, preteen. I'm talking 8, 9, 10 years old. And I would be in conversations with family members, and they would say something that didn't make sense to me, right? And I'd ask questions, and I remember I was talking to one family member, and I asked a question, and they turned around and said, "Man, why is it when I talk with you, it always feels like a work on me session?" And I was like 9 years old. Like I had no idea what he was talking about. But what I realized later in life was that he was talking from the lens of our family, can I tell you guys, dysfunction. You do know that every family that I've ever talked to has some form of dysfunction. And once again, I didn't realize this at 9, 10 years old, but what was happening is he was talking from the lens of our family dysfunction. And because I hadn't, there were several years apart, I didn't realize this. I didn't know the rules of the system. Nobody gave me them glasses yet. And once again, I didn't realize it back then, but as I began to study in this field of relationship and understand what makes healthy relationships, I now understand that I was challenging the dysfunction in our system. And it was so eye-opening to understand, wow, so much of our identities, if we don't begin to learn how to discern how we are operating in relationships, we will stay in that reactionary place that oftentimes is very dysfunctional. See, a lot of people confuse intensity for safety until they experience consistency. So ask yourself, do I feel clearer after interaction, or do I feel more confused? Does this person create stability or emotional fluctuation? Right? Do you have some people in your life that you don't know how they're going to show up? You don't know how the interaction is going to flow. A whole lot of that has to do with whether or not the people are paying attention to what their frequency illusion is. What have they identified to be true? And is that truth a safe place, a stable place? And once again, once you begin to see healthy, you'll begin to see healthy in places you didn't realize it was healthy. And you'll begin to see unhealthy in places that you've been walking in and not realizing, oh, this is an unhealthy place. You start seeing it everywhere. Attraction may open the door, but emotional safety determines if love can grow. And what is formed can be recognized, it can be protected, and it can grow. You see, this has been a relatively short session. This episode is a short session, but it really does go deep. And my hope is that you'll take the time to really think about where are the stable places in your life. You begin to identify where are you reacting rather than discerning. You begin to take the time to identify, why am I doing what I'm doing? And much of the reason that is so important is because when things leave you, when you leave situations, when you leave places and you're feeling more anxious, or you're feeling more stressed, or you're feeling more confused. Those are all signs that you are in environments that cause you to be reacting. So you want to begin this process of discerning, which means you want to begin to ask the questions, why is this making me feel that way? Why does this person always get my heart racing? Why? So that you can begin to become aware, and then you can begin to discern, how do I find me some safe places? How do I have some places where I'm not more confused? How do I identify persons and people who create stability for me? How do I get off of these emotional roller coasters? And once again, I want to emphasize, once you begin to see it, you really will begin to see it everywhere. So I'm going to say it one more time. Attraction may open the doors, but emotional safety determines if love can grow. And what is formed can be recognized. It can be protected, and it will grow. And remember, forever love isn't fantasy. It's formed. Thank you for clicking on the video. I'm Cal Cope. Won't you like and subscribe and enjoy the video?